Imagine if you had the opportunity to drive a brand new car from 1983. A car that has never been sold, a car so fresh it has just a few miles on the odometer. Would you take that opportunity? Well, you'd be kind of dumb not to, and that's exactly where I find myself today, sitting in front of a 1983 Honda Prelude that has belonged to Honda since it was manufactured over 40 years ago. And in today's video, I'm going to show you probably the nicest Prelude left in existence, and then we're going to get it on the road and maybe put a couple ticks in that odometer. Let's do it. What I'm about to do may seem pretty sacrilegious, putting miles on a car that's got so few miles, but what you gotta understand here, folks, is Honda is in the business of making and selling cars, right? And they understand the promotional value of keeping and maintaining a heritage fleet. You know, and they do have a really cool museum here at their Torrance headquarters, which you can come and you can check out a lot of these low mileage cars in person. But they know that, you know, the reach of these cars is potentially far bigger than just people coming and visiting in person. They can give it to nerds like me, and I can do videos like this, and then remind folks of where the Prelude has come from and where it is going. The Honda Prelude was Honda's sporty two-door manufactured from 1978 through 2001 across 5 generations. Except there's now a new 6th generation Prelude. Wahoo, it's back. So to celebrate, Honda threw me the keys to probably the nicest 2nd gen Prelude left in the world. Now, the story behind this car is really interesting because, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is still technically a brand new car. It's never been sold to a member of the public. Now, my friend Carl Pulley here at the American Honda Collection Hall thinks what happened with this car is likely it was built and then used for promotional materials, marketing materials, think brochures and magazines and that kind of thing. So there's a good shot that if you were around back in the early 80s, you may have seen this car in a brochure or in a magazine, which is pretty cool. And we know that it's a special Prelude, not just one that's been forgotten about, because it's VIN 13. So if I open up the door here and look in the door jamb, you can see it was manufactured in July of 1982, and the VIN is 0000013. So this is a really early example of this car, and it's been with Honda since brand new, which is very, very cool. The 2nd generation Prelude was manufactured from 1982 through 1987. This, of course, being a very early car's model year, 1983. Now, a lot of you guys will remember the 2nd gen Prelude from the much later 2-liter SI cars. This isn't that. This is a very early version. Now, 2nd generation Prelude, the first Prelude to offer the iconic pop-up headlights, and the whole boxy nature of this car is so pinnacle 1980s Honda. But what I'm struck with, even standing next to this very, very early build, is the quality of the paint. The level of finish and attention to detail they put in the panel gaps and the chrome and the fitment is just shocking. This is when these cars were built like Swiss watches. They were built to last hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles with little difficulty. I mean, what really took these cars off the road? Rust, right? But from a mechanical standpoint and a fit and finish standpoint, it's just perfection. I'm more excited to be driving this 1980s Honda than a brand new McLaren, because where are you going to find another experience like this? It feels like a brand new car. We're being very delicate on the throttle here, but it feels every bit as willing to rev and to drive at normal speeds as any other modern car I've ever driven. It is perfect. The steering is heavy. I believe it is completely unassisted steering, manual steering. But the upside of that is it's also very communicative. It's actually very heavy at slow speeds. It takes a little bit of muscling, but when you're out on the road, oh, it is the perfect steering. But what really strikes me, the best part about this driving experience, is the gear shift. You know, you really understand why Honda has a reputation for making the best shifters in the industry when you get in this car. And that's not just a recent thing, right? This car is one of the best shifters I've ever experienced. And it's crazy because it's not a particularly short throw, but it feels like you're interacting with a beautiful watch. It's precise, and it gives you feedback as to what gear you're going into, and there's just the right amount of resistance. Oh, it's a beautiful shifter. In a second, Yeah, and the clutch is also perfect. Now from the side, the first thing you notice, the most identifiable difference between this car and a new vehicle, the sheer size of the wheels. This Prelude is rolling on 13-inch steel wheels with the bright chrome ring around the outside. But what that means is it's got a fantastically tall sidewall, which should give this car a really nice ride. I also love this feature down the side here. It has this rub strip. When did we go away from building cars that were functional first most, designed second? And I think that, you know, granted it looks a little dinky down the side, but it means that in parking lots you are less likely to end up with door dings, both opening the door into other things and having other people open the door into your car. And then we've got this roof line, which has got this sharp fall from the roof to the trunk lid here, and then just a delicate little up kick at the back, which gives it a little bit of a sporty look. It's important to remember that, especially the later Preludes, they got really fast and they got really hardcore, but these early ones were more grand tours in the sense than all-out sports cars. And then of course out back here we've got these wide taillights, Honda logo here, the big American style impact bumpers, and on the right side I just love when they'd advertise, you bought the 5-speed. You're telling your neighbors, I'm no automatic person, I bought the 5-speed. All right, I'm just gonna feed it a little bit of throttle. Wow. That's not bad actually. You know, you hear 100 horsepower, but when you consider how thin the doors are, it makes sense why it actually gets moving pretty well. That engine too, there's a responsiveness that comes with carburetors that you just don't get with modern fuel injection systems. The throttle response is immediate. It's like there's a direct connection between my right toe and the response of that little 1.8 liter 4-cylinder. So the hood on this Prelude is forward hinged, and there's a little prop rod here to keep it up. Now, later cars, of course, got the 2-liter 16-valve, much higher performance engine, but this early car is running an A18A engine, I believe is the internal designation. This is a 1.8-liter 12-valve 4-cylinder with 2 carbs, of course, transverse mounted. And I was reading that they actually tilted the engine a little bit to allow that beautiful low hood line that this car has achieved. Now, it's not much of a powerhouse, somewhere between 95 and 100 horsepower in the US specification is what this engine is rated at. But what strikes me is not the simplicity, because yeah, it is fundamentally a carbureted 4-cylinder engine from the 1980s, so it should be a very durable engine, and it is. However, it is also laden with a spaghetti of vacuum lines. They go in every which direction. Keep in mind, this was early era of strict emission standards, and there's just vacuum lines that dive in every possible direction. This was actually the first Honda sold in America with double wishbone suspension. This car has double wishbone front suspension, McPherson strut rears, and the ride is so soft. I feel like in the pursuit of making everything feel sporty today, we've created these cars with ultra low profile tires and ride qualities of that of granite, right? But suspension is supposed to work with you. It's supposed to work with the road. It's supposed to, in my opinion, have some forgiveness, and that's exactly what this car has. All right, stepping inside this Prelude, just washed my hands. Make sure my bottom is clean here, because this is a perfect car. A couple little feet taps. It's so funny in this job, you know, I'm very fortunate I get to drive some very expensive high-end cars, and yet I am more worried about sitting in this 80s Honda because I know it is such a piece of history. But the first thing that you notice stepping inside this car is how low the belt line is and how great the visibility is. This is from an era of cars when you were supposed to look out at the world and take in the surroundings and not be, you know, blasted by screens and brightness. It's a different era of car design, one that I really think we should get back to. Black plastic everywhere, but what's interesting is compared to the modern plastics that feel kind of shiny and cheap, these ones feel earnest, if that's the right word, but it feels like this interior was designed to last because it was designed to last. And there's so many cool little details that you notice when you start paying attention to your surroundings. For example, like you've got this continuous piece of faux stitching that envelops you in the car. It surrounds you in this beautiful curve from passenger all the way over to the driver's side. And there's some really cool attention to detail, like the driver's side and the passenger side vent are actually in the door, and there is a little channel that funnels air through your door, which is very cool. Cockpit, very driver-centric. These beautiful analog gauges with this yellow text. Simple gauges. You got tach, you've got speed, you got temperature, and you got fuel, and then you've got a trip computer over on the right. This car's reading 378 miles from new. Sunroof controls over here on the left and the right. There's a little pop-up button that you can engage, and then it tells you here on the screen that your headlights are popped up. That's all very, very cool. Headlight control on the left, very simple turn signal and wiper controls. All of that feels very, very nice. These seats are this incredible zebra print two-piece bucket because the headrest does slide up. And then it's also very basic in here. This one's got manual windows, it's got manual mirrors. This one doesn't have a radio. That was very common, as I understand it, to have dealers install radios in these cars back in the day. I don't even think this is not an AC car. This is just a heat car with your quartz clock in the center here. And the shifter is it's perfect. Feels so nice. This one does have the power sunroof. I'm not going to try to open it. I don't feel that bold today, but I'm sure it works. And it's got this smell. You know, as someone who's not very well versed in 80s Hondas, I can't explain what that smell is, but maybe you can. It smells of a simpler time. Smells of Madonna. But seriously, the steering wheel is cool. You feel a little bit like you're driving a fighter jet with this really unique 3-spoke steering wheel with the full open top of the wheel, and it just feels right, this car. It's the only way I can describe it. Let's give it a little bit of squirt once again. Oh, this is such a communicative engine. You know, modern day 4-cylinders, especially with turbocharging, you can't feel what the engine is doing. But in this car, I can do both. I get an exact sense of how that engine is responding to my inputs. You know, people say, 4-cylinders are boring. You've driven the wrong 4-cylinder. Go drive a 1983 Prelude and tell me that's a boring experience. Even this little 12 valve, this is not an SI once again, it's just a twin carb 1.8. And it is so responsive and just characterful. Let's try for a downshift here. Rev match, easy. That's the word of this car, is easy. It's easy to drive. It's fun to drive. It's got soul, and this is what we're missing in a lot of new cars. Well, big thank you to Honda for trusting me to do that. That was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime bucket list experience, I'd say. I only put 2 miles on it, too. There you go. Hopefully that doesn't make you guys too upset that I'm ruining history here. Well, a huge thank you to Carl and Patrick here at the American Honda Collection Hall for allowing me to come out and tell the story of this essentially new Prelude. What a special car, and a big thank you for allowing me to drive it, and big thank you to you guys for watching, because you are the ones that allow this to happen, and I hope you find it interesting to see a car that's brand new, that's unregistered, right? Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. This has been Tommy behind the camera. Nobody, I'm out here alone today, and we'll see you over at alltfl.com for the next one.